Thank you, committee. My name is Chandra Villanueva, and I'm here representing every Texan. And the budget is a declaration of values, and this budget very clearly prioritizes tax cuts over the school children of Texas. Tax compression, which was a big part of HB3 and is being accelerated by this budget, creates a much larger benefit for the wealthiest Texans while leaving everyday Texans behind. The best ways to make investments in our public school children is through increasing the basic allotment and moving to enrollment-based funding. According to our calculations, using both the CPI for past years since 2019 and into the CPI for the comptroller, by 2024, the basic allotment should be $7,506, and in 2025, it should be $7,671, so much, much higher than what we see today at $6,160. Texas is one of only 6 states that uses enrollment-based or attendance-based funding rather than enrollment-based funding. Illinois is the most recent state to make that change in 2017. Their attendance rates before the pandemic, the 1920 school year, were 94.37%, so even higher here than Texas using attendance-based funding. I believe that attendance should be an accountability issue and not a funding issue, and recommend putting it in the A through F system as a part of the Closing the Gaps domain. And I just wanted to talk briefly about the golden penny changes as well. The commissioners seem to be very pleased that we're seeing the golden pennies increase to $129.52 by 2025. What he did not mention was that golden pennies were worth $135 before they were decoupled from Austin ISD as a part of HB3. If the golden pennies were still coupled to the Austin ISD yields, they would be worth $198 today, so that's $100 more than they are, and it'd be much more going into 24 and 25. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Members, any questions? Representative Isaac.
Thank you, Chairman. Do you realize that property taxes hurt the elderly that are trying to stay in their homes? They also hurt renters, and they also hurt small businesses that are trying to struggle to stay afloat. So I had to say that. I couldn't have you say that it only helps the wealthy, because that is not true.
The elderly do have a freeze on their property taxes, and the tax cuts that are being offered by this committee do not help renters at all. Thank you.
Some of the elderly, their property taxes are higher than their mortgage ever was at one point in time. And when you have people who own property and rent it out, they have no other way to cover their costs than raise rent. It hurts renters as well. Thank you.
Representative Bryant.
Ms. Villanueva, would you address more completely the issue raised by my colleague just a moment ago with regard to the unequal effect of these proposed property taxes?
Yes, definitely. So property tax compression really benefits higher income earners in Texas because their homes are worth more, and low income Texans are less likely to own their own homes. Property taxes are definitely passed down to renters, but none of the proposals that we've been looking at in the legislature, such as homestead exemptions, tax rate compression, none of that would be passed down to renters at all. So all of these benefits are really going to be for the highest earning Texans, and very little will be done for just your everyday working Texans who are in the lowest quintile of wealth in the state.
I wonder if you would address another issue that seems it's kind of coming into focus here as we hear that we've left our retired teachers without any cost of living adjustment, some of them for 20 years, others for 10 years. We're way down the line with regard to our per pupil contributions to education from the state as well. I'm beginning to wonder, had we met our responsibility to retired teachers and to school children, would there be a surplus? Another way of asking the question is the surplus simply due to depriving or failing to meet some of our basic responsibilities for a long time?
Yeah, I would never call it a surplus. It is a beginning balance because our state has a lot of unmet needs. And I think it's very true that if we were actually contributing to our retiree system the way that we should be, a lot more of our elderly teachers would be able to afford their home payments and their property taxes. And that if we increase the basic allotment and increase the pay for our teachers, that they too will be more comfortably able to either buy homes or afford rent in some of our growing cities.
Thank you.
Representative Isaac.
We have a surplus because we've been overtaxed, and buying down the M&O does give property tax relief to elderly people who are being taxed out of their homes.
A lot of the surplus is due to inflationary costs because we mainly rely on a sales tax in this state, and also oil severance taxes have generated a lot more because of the high cost of gasoline.
Do you know that we adopted a more strict budget a few sessions ago, population plus inflation?
I am aware, and I'm also aware that we have a lot of unmet needs, like keeping basic level funding for our schools stagnant for 4 years.
Members, any other questions? All right, thank you.